just on the Ring of Fire. Um, your colleague, Minister Wilkinson, had some comments about the Ring of Fire the other day, saying, it might be good, but there are other places that are better. There are concerns about environment. There are concerns about Indigenous buy-in and consent and consultation around that. What's your position? Is the Ring of Fire? We hear Doug Ford really pushing for it, really wanting it to happen soon. Where do you stand on that? Do you think it's a good place for Canada to be looking for critical minerals, or do you think that other places might be better?
I think clearly one of the things we are trying to do and have been working with Indigenous nations in Northern Ontario to do is to agree on a framework where if there is exploration and exploitation for critical mineral in the Ring of Fire, it would be done in a way where these nations are meaningfully engaged both in the impact assessment of potential projects and in the deployment of potential future projects, which is why myself and the Environment and Climate Change Canada, as well as the Assessment Impact Agency, have been working with these communities and with the Ontario government to develop a framework where we can all agree on, if we do it, this is how it would be done. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to agree yet. But we are still working on a proposal for a regional impact assessment, and so far the Indigenous nations have agreed to move ahead with this. So we're waiting on the Ontario government to tell us whether or not they want to proceed jointly with Indigenous nations and the federal government to do this work.
Any follow-up, Alex?
Yeah, I guess this region has been sort of discussed as a potential, as obviously hotbed for minerals for over a decade, I think 15 years. Nothing really has happened. We're still talking about building roads. There's one mine proposal that the province is assessing, that I guess the feds aren't assessing at this point. But do you have hope that it's even feasible there, given how long there's been really nothing happening?
I think that nothing has been happening because many of the projects that have been proposed have not included the perspective of Indigenous nations. So let me put it this way. I think that for any development to happen in the Ring of Fire, Indigenous nation will need to be part of the discussion and decision-making process for these projects. And that hasn't happened, which is why I think we're not seeing any development. I think that where we are able to or willing to engage, and certainly at the federal level, we are very willing and able to engage with Indigenous nations. I recently approved a lithium mine on the Quebec side of James Bay, where all of the impact assessment was done in collaboration with the Crees. And it was done in a very timely and efficient manner. We think we could be doing that elsewhere across the country, and certainly in the Ring of Fire. It does mean that the province needs to be at the table working with us to make this a reality.